He doesn't slam doors. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't chase. Not because he doesn't care, but because he's changed. There was a time when he fought for love like it was, air-urgent, all-consuming, life-defining. He thought that if he had given enough, stayed long enough, and tried hard enough, love would fix everything. But it didn't. And now, he doesn't want intensity. He wants inner peace. This video isn't against love. It's just about the kind of love that doesn't cost a man his peace. He doesn't hate women. He doesn't hate romance. He just knows what it cost him, and he knows what he never wants to pay again. Because after 50, love is no longer something you chase. It's something you weigh carefully. Let's talk about the quiet shift many mature men go through. Why peace starts to feel better than passion, and what it means to choose calm over chaos. If you felt this too, drop a quiet comment. Peace is my new home. Peace doesn't argue. He's had the late-night fights, the slammed doors, the silent treatments. He knows what it's like to lie awake, wondering what went wrong, when all he wanted was to rest. In his younger years, drama was mistaken for depth, passion for proof, arguments for love that's real. Now, if he has to raise his voice to be heard, he walks away. If the conversation feels like a competition, he opts out. He's no longer interested in winning debates at the cost of connection. He doesn't need to be right. He just needs to be at peace. He values communication but not performance. He'll talk but not yell. He'll listen but won't defend his right to exist. There's a peace that comes from being able to say, "Let's not do this tonight," and mean it not because he's avoiding, but because he's protecting his calm. For a man over 50, silence isn't avoidance. It's wisdom. It's control. It's freedom. He's tired of drama disguised as intimacy. He's done with love that needs noise to feel alive. Give him stillness, or give him nothing. Peace lets him breathe. There was a time when he felt like he was always holding his breath, walking on eggshells, measuring every word. At work, he had to perform. At home, he had to manage emotions. There was never a place where he could simply exhale fully. But now, his peace is sacred. He guards it with quiet routines. Morning stillness, evening rituals, boundaries that aren't up for discussion. Love once felt like a weight, sweet at first, then heavy. Now peace feels like air. It's walking into his home and knowing no energy will be drained. It's spending time with someone who doesn't ask for a performance, just presence. It no longer needs grand gestures. It craves quiet safety. When you've been through emotional storms, stillness isn't boring, it's healing. He doesn't crave fireworks anymore. He craves the kind of connection where he can close his eyes and nothing feels at risk. Not his identity, not his peace, not his pace. If love doesn't let him breathe freely, it's not worth the breath. Peace doesn't question his worth. He used to chase validation, used to wonder, am I enough? Am I doing it right? Am I too much or not enough? Every unanswered text, every shift in tone, every cold night in bed, he made it about him, and it wore him down. Now, he knows who he is. He's not looking for approval. He's not trying to earn love like it's a paycheck. He's not performing to be chosen. Peace showed him his worth quietly, consistently. In solitude, he remembered his value. And now, if love makes him question that it's too expensive, he's not afraid of intimacy. He's afraid of shrinking. He'll give his heart but not his self-respect. He'll show up but not at the cost of inner quiet. If love feels like a test, a project, or a tightrope, he'd rather sit it out. Because the man who's found peace won't trade it for a maybe. Not again. He's tired of performing. He used to try, really try, to be interesting, to be strong, to be the version of himself he thought would be chosen, kept, loved. But it felt like acting, like every conversation was a subtle audition, every silence a threat, every mistake a reason to be abandoned. Now, he doesn't want to be a performance anymore. He wants to be a presence. When a man chooses peace over love, it's not because he has nothing to give, it's because he no longer wants to give it under conditions. He doesn't want to smile when he's hurting just to avoid conflict. He doesn't want to keep up emotional appearances. He doesn't want his worth tied to how engaged or fun he is. He wants someone who can sit with him in silence without squirming. Someone who sees the man behind the mask and doesn't flinch. After 50, he spent enough time performing. Now he just wants to be fully, quietly, completely himself. And if that costs him romance, he's made peace with that too. He's seen what chaos costs. Love, in his past, came with raised voices, unspoken rules, the slow decay of respect masked by passion. And the price? His mental clarity, his sleep, his sense of self. He used to think love meant intensity, checking in constantly, always needing to be on, constantly monitoring moods and moments for signs of safety or threat. But real peace? It's when he can breathe without scanning for approval. He knows the toll of tension, the way it creeps into the body, tight shoulders, clenched jaw, shallow breaths. He's lived with that kind of noise, and he's not interested in letting it back in. It's not that he avoids connection, he avoids confusion, volatility, and a home that feels like an emotional minefield. Peace isn't passive, it's fiercely protected. And once a man has fought to reclaim it, he doesn't offer it up for negotiation anymore. He doesn't need to be saved. One of the most misunderstood truths about mature men is this: they're not waiting to be rescued, or fixed, or mothered. In his younger years, he attracted women who saw potential, who wanted to help him heal, who treated love like a renovation project. But David and men like him aren't broken homes with good bones. They are lived in sanctuaries. He doesn't want someone to change him. He wants someone who sees him, really sees him, and chooses him as is. No emotional to-do list, no quiet hope that he'll open up more or be less rigid. He's done enough work, enough growth, enough inner digging to know who he is, and what he needs now is not a therapist in disguise. He needs peace, someone who meets him there, not drags him away from it. He values quiet more than constant connection. He used to think connection meant always being on, texting good morning, calling after work, updating someone about his day. It wasn't bad, but it was endless. There was always a sense of needing to be available, to respond, to share. But after 50, David's version of connection changed. He realized that not every silence is a threat, and not every relationship needs noise to feel alive. He now values relationships where quiet is allowed, where being in the same room, doing nothing, is still considered intimacy, where no one takes it personally if he doesn't text back for a few hours. He's no longer afraid that silence means something is wrong. For him, silence is space, silence is permission, silence is peace. And if love interrupts that constantly, he knows it's not the love he wants. He doesn't want to be someone's recovery plan. He's met women who carry invisible wounds, beautiful women, smart women, women with pain behind their eyes and hope in their hearts, that he might help them forget what came before. David doesn't judge them. He just doesn't want to be their medicine. He knows what it feels like to be a band-aid for someone else's heartbreak, to be the one who restores faith, proves men aren't all bad, or shows her what love is supposed to be. He's done being the rebound healer, because he's healing too, quietly, gently, and healing isn't something you rush. At this stage, he doesn't want to fix or be fixed. He wants to grow alongside someone, not be held responsible for her past. And if that means waiting longer, staying single longer, so be it. Because peace is never found in trying to carry someone else's emotional burden before they're ready to carry their own. He's finally comfortable not explaining himself. There was a time when David explained everything. Why he didn't want to go out, why he preferred mornings alone, why he didn't want to move in, why he needed space. And those explanations never made him feel understood, only guilty. Now, he lets his boundaries stand without debate. He no longer sees peace as something to earn. It's something to protect. If someone can't understand his quiet, they're not meant to share it. If someone interprets his stillness as coldness, they're not ready for the warmth beneath it. He's not here to perform, to convince, or to over-justify his needs. He's here to live, to breathe, to love only if it feels like peace, not persuasion. He's not afraid of being alone. He's afraid of losing himself again. There was a time when being alone terrified him. The quiet house, the untouched side of the bed, the long weekends with no plans. It used to feel like a punishment, but over time he stopped fearing the silence and started listening to it. It told him things he hadn't heard in years, that he matters, that his worth isn't based on how useful he is to others, that being still is not the same as being stuck. Now, solitude doesn't sting, it soothes. He wakes up in a house where every object has its story, not a performance. He walks through his mornings unhurried, no pretending, no performing, just presence. So when someone says, "But aren't you lonely?" he smiles gently, not because he's avoiding love, but because he finally found something deeper, self-respect that doesn't vanish when no one's watching. And that's what he's afraid of losing again. Not the woman, not the affection, but the quiet dignity he fought so hard to reclaim. Because for men like him, loneliness isn't the enemy anymore. Losing yourself trying to keep someone else, that's what truly hurts. They think he gave up on love. They're wrong. He gave up on losing himself to keep it. Because after 50, men like him don't want love that demands they shrink, bend, or bleed just to feel chosen. They want peace. And not just quiet, but peace of identity, of mind, of soul. Love, if it ever returns, must meet him there. Not with fireworks, not with flattery, but with presence, with truth, with calm. He's not bitter. He's not broken. He's aware. He knows that some connections cost too much, and that after a certain age the highest form of love is the one that doesn't ask him to abandon himself. If this resonates with you, if you found peace after pain, drop a comment. Peace isn't loneliness, it's clarity. Because sometimes, the most sacred love story a man lives is the one where he finally stops chasing noise and starts choosing peace.